This series has an interesting history here on this channel. Prime specifically, not Metroid, I guess. The first game was covered by Terrell, where he couldn't finish the game due to it not being, his style of game. And I briefly looked over the other two games in the trilogy. I never gave them an in-depth treatment that I had originally wanted, and I think that's because I never really had a formula for my own reviews. They don't have to be long to be good, but I just wanted to talk about certain categories, and every time I review, I just kind of don't do that, and it's all over the place. And I mean, Prime games, they mean a lot to me, so let's get into it. Metroid Prime was the very first 3D Metroid game. Released in 2002, it was faced with a lot of criticism until people actually got their hands on it. People were unsure about how a first-person Metroid would even work, but only Nintendo would try something so bold. Well, that is if Nintendo developed it themselves. That's not to say Nintendo had no part in development, of course they did, it's a Metroid game. But they had gotten an outside studio to spearhead development, Retro Studios. What was special about them? They're American. Now, I'm sure this isn't the first time Nintendo has ever worked with an American studio, but they put this Metroid game basically entirely in their hands. How would they handle the project? Very well. This game truly showcases the GameCube's power. Luigi's Mansion was the launch title, but this, I believe, pushes it to the limit. It also maintained a, honestly, gorgeous frame rate. Today on That Game Review Show, we're looking at the GameCube classic, Metroid Prime. Three years after the space pirates were defeated on planet Zebes, Samus picks up a distress beacon from a ship orbiting Talon 4. Upon investigation, she finds it's a space pirate frigate and proceeds to go to work. She boards the ship and starts killing pirates left and right before finding a violent Parasite Queen specimen, a grotesque space pirate lab experiment. She kills the creature, and the ship enters its self-destruct sequence, a classic Metroid staple. During the escape, she encounters Meta Ridley, a rebuilt Ridley who is even more dangerous than when she fought him on Zebes. Enraged by the sight of the pirate who committed genocide on her homeworld, she rushes out to her ship. But while she's caught off guard, an explosion strips her of her upgrades, including her missiles, charge beam, Variosuit, and morph ball. Somehow. Upon entering her ship, she chases Ridley down onto the surface of Talon 4, ready to hunt him down and end him once and for all. Metroid Prime is built for the GameCube controller, and as you know, the C-Stick isn't really the best to use in a twin-stick shooter. So Retro decided to give the game tank controls, and I believe these tank controls work very well due to the non-action-based nature of this game. Exploration is prioritized over combat, and backtracking is king. And of course, like I've mentioned in the other two Metroid Prime videos, trilogy controls. Although there are boss battles, they are mainly just to break up some of the monotony of backtracking. The boss battles also lead to new upgrades, which allows you to gain access to previously inaccessible areas, which leads to some feel-good exploration moments. I mean, just being able to backtrack and properly explore, that's the whole Metroidvania genre right there. The environments are incredible. The jump to 3D is completely justified by the locations alone. Yes, 2D Metroid does have some absolutely amazing locations as well, but they're great because of the absolutely stunning pixel art on display. Prime gives you scale. As you walk around these wide open areas, it's easy to feel small. The GameCube really sets the tone here, even with its weaker hardware compared to the other consoles at the time. And when you enter a claustrophobic hallway, you just feel alone, and you are. The entire game, you're just either trying to track down Ridley, or later on, the source of the Phazon. It's nice. The game's audio is pure bliss to me. Everything just sounds right. Samus's footsteps are nice and heavy. The rain hitting against the visor is really calming, and the sound of the arm cannons absolutely perfect. Sounding powerful and graceful all at the same time, especially with the different beams. Everything about this game is sold by the audio and the incredible sound design. You really need to play this game for yourself in order to understand what I'm talking about. And the music? It's great. The music in Prime is very special to me. All the Metroid games, in fact, but Prime 1 specifically. This shit is nostalgic beyond belief to me. But even if you take away the rose-tinted glasses, or maybe rose-tinted headphones, the music is just a bop. Whether you're exploring the frozen-over research facility of Phendrana Drifts, pushing through the intense heat of Magmore Caverns, or facing off with an old foe. The music is appropriate and absolutely wonderful. The game has a soundtrack that I listen to outside of playing it, and that's something I don't do all too often. Metroid Prime is a game all Nintendo fans need to play. Period. At least give it a chance. The game is a masterpiece from its world building to the lore entries. The world is engaging and the feeling of exploration is not topped by anything else I've ever played. This is undoubtedly a Metroid game, and dare I say one of the best Metroidvania games ever created. Thank you all for watching another episode of That Game Review Show. I'm glad I've finally gone back and finished up my reviews of the Prime Trilogy. Now, sadly, there aren't too many Metroid games left, but that isn't going to stop me from slowly covering every single one, even if it takes 5 years. James is back next week for TGRS, and make sure to check out all the other content here on Internet Nobodies. I'll see you next Monday.